Today we are going to discuss how to train an NMT model from scratch using the FairSeek library. FairSeek library is a very easy library to help you start your research in the NMT area. It can also be used to train models from scratch. Today we are going to discuss it. So we are going to train our model on the multi 30K dataset from English to German. This dataset already comes with already comes in a tokenized format for German, English, French. So this is a very nice dataset. This can be taken as a toy dataset to implement and see how good our model works. For the model, we'll use the standard transformer architecture. So do give Ben Trevitt on GitHub. He has a good tutorial series on implementing seek-to-seek architectures from scratch in PyTorch. So if you want to understand the more minute details behind the transformer architecture, refer that. So let's get into it. So our first step would be to get the dataset, and then we install a couple of Python modules. One is WNB, this is for logging, and Saccharomyces, this is for tokenizing text, and FairSeek for training our model. So if you want to use WNB, you have to create your account and then give this command wnb.login so that you authorize your login credentials, and it directly shows up to your particular project all the parameters, all the values that it keeps track of during the training process. Okay, now that we have logged into our WNB account, the first step is the pre-processing step. This step takes all the tokenized data in our dataset, which is the multi 30K dataset, which is there in the task 1 under tokenized folder. It takes all the text and then try to learn vocabulary from it and then binarize the data so that it becomes faster during the training to batch them and use them. So the parameters that we are passing for the FairSeek pre-process is the source language that we want to translate and the target language that we want to translate it to. The train prefix, valid prefix, and test prefix are the entire path of the train dataset, validation dataset, and the test dataset, except the last extensions for the language. So if you see this file train.lc.norm.talk.fr, it means that the last .fr signifies that this is a dataset. This file is in French. So while specifying this source lang and target lang, the FairSeek pre-process, what it does is it only finds the files with .de and .en endings, and the train prefix gives it the exact path of the training dataset except the last extension of the language. So train.lc.norm.tok is same for both .de and .en. So you can specify both these train prefixes in one step using this. So for the test preference, we are using the 2018 Flickr dataset. So we'll use that. And then this is the destination directory. Where do we want all the vocabulary learned by the FairSeek pre-process and the binarized dataset to? Like, where should it store? We are storing it in data bin. So this is a personal choice. I like it like this, so I am going to store it like this. So threshold, SRC and TGT, what these specify is the minimum number of times a token repeats so that it is added into the vocabulary. That is the minimum threshold such that it should be added into the vocabulary. Once we run this, we get this binarized data set here, which is in the data bin. And here we can see that the dictionary size of German is 7864 and dictionary size of English is 5928, which is good enough for our model to train. And then coming to the train step, we have specified a lot of parameters here. Let's discuss one by one. So most of the hyperparameters here are chosen or directly taken from Ben Travitt's tutorial. So I'm going to refer to his tutorial and see and explain what it does with the help of the FAIR-seek documentation. So dropout, attention dropout and activation dropout. There are three types of dropouts in the entire transformer architecture. One is attention dropout, which is done after the data passes through the attention layer, and the other one in the feed forward network. So there are two feed forwards and there are three attentions that you can see, and then the activation dropout. So these are the three dropouts. In this tutorial, all of them got the same value of dropout. Like he did not mention any separate differences, just the dropout is a common name for everything. So I use the same value for all the three steps. Coming to embedded encoder, encoder embed dimensions. If we go and see the FAIR-seek documentation, you can see that encoder embed dimension is encoder's embedding dimension. So at this level, this is the encoder part of the transformer network and this is the decoder part. At this level, the size of the embedding dimensions that you get at is the encoder embed dimensions. This is specified here as encoder dimension to be 256. So I use the same encoder dimension to be 256 and the same with the decoder embed dimensions, which is 256. Coming to encoder FFN embed dimension. Encoder embed FFN embed dimension is, so in this architecture, the feed forward part for feed forward block is made of two layers. The size of the hidden layer in the middle, the second layer, is the hyperparameter that we are setting here, which is 512. Number of encoder layers is the repetition of this each encoder layer on. So all these encoder layers are stacked on top of each other and all the decoder layers are stacked on top of each other. That is what this nx signifies. So this so we have used 3 encoder layers and similarly 3 decoder layers. It is important that the number of encoder layers and number of decoder layers are same. And now coming to the attention heads. Attention heads, we have chose it to be 8. It is also so this multi-head attention block, it passes the input embedding and the positional embedding, the concatenation of it. It splits into n heads and then and then apply the attention mechanism and then apply the self attention mechanism on each of them parallelly and then concatenate it back again. So To have an effective division of the embedding dimensions, we want the embedding dimensions and the number of attention heads to be divisible by each other. 256 can be divided by 8, so we have the number of attention heads and the number of decoder attention heads to be 8, and 256 by 8 it is possible. And then yeah, so the coming to the last one, which is encoder learned position and decoder learned pause. So in the original attention is all you need paper, they have used static embeddings, which is sinusoidal embeddings. But in all the other papers, in all the future works like BERT, Albert, etc., and all the BERTology related, all the BERT related architectures, we have a positional embedding which is not static. That is, we do not fix it by default, we learn those during the training process. This is what this specifies. Encoder learned pause is to specify using learned positional embeddings in the encoder, and similarly for the decoder. With these, we specify a learning rate and the batch size and a seed so that we can reproduce the same experiment again, and W&B project so that it gets logged over here. Or we can see that our training is already complete and it is visible here. Okay, so we'll just highlight a few more points by looking at the W&B. So before doing this video, I had a trial run to see what parameters work exactly and just give you the direct one. So this winter voice 10 is our new run, which we'll just call this training run. So these are the three useful visualizations that we need. One is GPU utilization. It is important that we use GPU to its maximum. I'm just using 47.5% of, so on average I'm using about 45% of the GPU, which is actually significantly low. It is better, so in this case it would be better if you increase the batch size so that you would get a better gradient estimate. In the similar way you can increase the learning rate, but here I just wanted to follow this tutorial to get my results working. That's why I had deal with this. I took the same values and you can see that GPU utilization is here, and the gradient norm, which is the L2 norm of the gradients of all the network parameters. And this is the most important visualization if we want to understand how the model is training. So we have the training loss and the validation loss, and it is going down. We see that it is reaching a stagnation point at this level, so we stop training and then we conclude our experiment. So our training process is done. W&B is a very great way to visualize all for our specific needs, so I recommend you give it a try. We can see that our entire model training just took about 143 seconds, so which is very fast. 143.7 seconds is just around 2 minute 24. Yeah, so it is around 2 minute 24 seconds. Let's call it roughly 2.5 minutes for a 2.5 minute trained model. Let's see how it performs. So FAIRSEEK generate is another command within the FAIRSEEK library which can be used to generate translations. Let's run the translations of our model over the test dataset. So this is what this does. At the end we would get a blue score. We are running the FAIRSEEK generate on the checkpoint best. Checkpoint best is the checkpoint where the validation loss is the lowest. We'll see how it performs well on the blue score. On the blue score, we are getting 25.67 blue score points. 25.67 is actually a very decent blue score if you can compare to the other state of the art models, you also have to remember that this is not even optimize all our hyperparameters to fit the data perfectly. So given that the highest blue score is 35.0, we have reached 25.67 within no time with very less amount of code. So this is a great plus point for me. So this is a great takeaway to have a baseline, to establish a baseline over your dataset and understand how it goes. We can improve the blue score further using a few more techniques. So beam search is a technique which is used during the decoding of the transformer model to generate a sentence. We used a beam size of 5, which is the default here, to get a 25.67 blue score. Let's increase the beam size to 10 to see how much the blue score would increase. And also there is another very great technique which is averaging checkpoints. In the so the results are here, and we can see that over the baseline of 25.67, with we just change one parameter, that is also during the inference part, we just change the beam size to 10. We have seen a significant blue score rise from 25.67 to 25.89, which is a great thing to do. So I would suggest, if you can use a higher beam score, go for it if it is giving better results. So we'll discuss another great technique that we have, that is averaging checkpoints. What it does is it takes so these are all the checkpoints that we have trained. I don't think Colab is listing it. Okay, all right. So what it does is it takes last five checkpoints and take an average of it and save it to a different file. So in most of the time, what happens is the averaged checkpoint, it acts like an ensemble of all the last 5 models. So it usually gives better results. We'll see over the average checkpoint how better our test data set would perform. Wow, so we got a blue score of 26.70, which is a huge jump. If you consider from 25.67 to 26.70 is a very huge jump. When you it is almost a 1 point, it is more than 1 point jump over the blue score, which is very, very significant. Now let's go into the model's translations and see how well do they translate. So I do not know German, so what I would be comparing our model's translation is the ideal translation that it should have done. This particular German sentence should actually be translated to picture of white water river, house in background, and train crossing bridge on the hill behind. Here is a picture of a river and a bridge with background on the background. So it is not very perfect, but you can see that the model is able to capture the main essence of the translated sentence. So this is a very good start. If you want, you can use more sophisticated architectures. Transformer is an architecture which is introduced in 2017. So there are much more advanced architectures like T5, or if you can take BART or MBART. Even BERT can be used for conditional generation, that for translation sometimes. You can refer to the Hugging Face library. They do have many, they do list many types of BERT models and more advanced. Like all of these are built over the transformer model itself, so you can understand how basic. So this is like, this model is 3 years ago's research, so it is important to understand this. And we trained it only for 2.5 minutes without tweaking much of the hyperparameters. You can also ship this to external ones so that you can repeat or generate translations as you want. So I'll just do this. So to have that, we need to have a dictionary of both the languages and then just our model checkpoint. That is it. Over this, then we there is another command which is called as FairSeek Interactive. In FairSeek Interactive, you can type sentences as you go. So let's run this FairSeek Interactive over the models that we have just generated. We are so while exporting, we'll export the averaged. How do I say this? So this averaged checkpoint. So this is a very good thing. We have seen an improvement, so why not just use it? Now we just have to input our text, which is this. So this is a German sentence which I had taken from one of the test sentences above. Yeah, you can see that a woman in a room sings into a microphone. It translates perfectly. You can always see this. You can add your own German sentences and see how they translate, how good your model is. See if you can tune much. But the main idea behind the tutorial is how to get started, how to build a very basic and a baseline translation model which performs decently well. I think we have achieved our goal. Let's just compare to one of the. So I don't think this is a fair comparison because WMT is a larger dataset, but Multi 30K is a smaller dataset. You can still see that it is. We are very close to the actual paper, which is Attention All You Need. We got a 27.3 over the WMT, and our model is giving 26.7 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 26.7 blue scores. So we could basically reproduce this entire paper and show this for our particular language. I hope all of you have enjoyed it. For more videos like this on machine learning research, subscribe to my channel and click the like button. Thank you.